Good afternoon. Hello, my name is Carla Matzdorf. I am admin to the group Overcoming Anxiety for Stressed Out Moms Who've Had Enough. And I'm also a certified health and life coach who works with moms to overcome anxiety. Welcome. As you come on, say hi. I go every Thursday online to talk to you about what it is that you can do so that you can have more awareness and have better insight as to what anxiety is, why you struggle with it, and how to overcome it. Today, in my live training, I am talking to you about, is anxiety messing with your head? Is it really? Because anxiety makes us believe in a lot of things. Are these things true? Are they not true? So let's talk about some of the things that we're believing having anxiety, and are these things actually true? Should we put our faith in it? So the first way I like to start my live is always with giving definitions, because I always want us to be on the same page. I never want you to guess what I'm talking about, what I mean. So when I talk about lies, when I talk about misconceptions, okay, so a lie is basically when you purposely do not tell the truth, okay? It's like a non-truth, but you're doing it to deceive somebody. You are purposely not telling the truth because you're looking to deceive. Now, a misconception, okay, is making like a wrong interpretation. We interpret things, but sometimes we're wrong. We misinterpret what is being said, what we see, what we hear, what's going on around us, and those misinterpretations can get us in trouble. So that's a lie, and that is a misconception. Now, when we have anxiety, okay, anxiety can lead us to believe in things that may or may not be true, that may get us into trouble, all right? Actually, let me just go in the group really quick and update it. And ladies, as you come on, say hi. I don't know if you're saying hi or not. Just Lisa. Hi, Lisa. How are you, Lisa? Say hi as you come on, okay? So, how does anxiety communicate to us that we start beginning to believe in things, all right? So, we start, hi, Phyllis, hi, Terry. We start believing in things, okay, because anxiety talks to us through our feelings, through our sensations that we get in the body, through our thoughts, and through the experiences that we ultimately have. These things put together, we start really forming our beliefs, and we start thinking that anxiety is the bad guy. So let me give an example, okay? So let's say you're sitting on the couch, minding your own business. Maybe you're watching Netflix, Hulu, whatever you're watching. All of a sudden, your heart starts racing, okay? And you're thinking, why is my heart racing? So you start focusing on your heart. Why is it racing? And it might scare you a little bit because, your thoughts is saying, okay, what's going on? You start questioning, what's going on? Why is my heart racing? And you might be telling yourself, oh my goodness, am I going into cardiac arrest? Am I going to have a heart attack? You start really focusing on those feelings, and your thoughts tell a story about what it is you're feeling. And as your thoughts are telling you a story, what that can do in turn is make those sensations even more so, intensify them, which means you're going to have more of a story. You're going to add on to your story. And with your thoughts, your feelings, you get an experience. They add up to what you experience. And whatever you experience, all that does is confirm what you're thinking and feeling. Did that make sense, ladies? Can you give me a 1 if that made sense? Or do you need clarity? I don't want to go on unless that made sense to you, okay? This is how we think we understand anxiety, because of how we feel, the thoughts going into our mind, we get an experience, we have no choice, we feel, but to believe, because we're thinking, well, if this wasn't true, why would I feel this way? Why would I think this way, right? I mean, that's how we think. Okay, thank you for the 1s, ladies. Thank you so much. Okay, so what are, through our feelings, our thoughts, our experiences, what are some of the lies that we're being told? Let's talk about these lies, these misconceptions, okay? So one of the biggest things that we feel having anxiety is that we are all alone in our experience. Now, I'm not going to get way into this because I just gave a whole live training on being alone, okay? On how with anxiety you feel so alone. But you're not alone. We know that. Just go into the group. There's almost 4,000 people in the group. Those 4,000 women have anxiety. You're not alone, okay? You're not alone, okay? So that's one of the lies. Now, I'm not going to dig into yet how, I just want to cover the lies. We're going to talk more about how to work through it later, okay? So just stick with me, okay? The best is yet to come. Another lie may be that anxiety is dangerous. These panic attacks are dangerous. I'm in danger. I'm in a lot of danger right here. And that's why I fear these feelings. Because I know they're anxiety, but I'm afraid of them. I'm in danger. They're going to hurt me. Anxiety in and of itself is not dangerous. It's an emotion. No, you don't want to stay there, okay? Yes, anxiety over time, all right? It is not healthy to have these anxious feelings in your body for a decade, 20 years, 30 years, all right? We know what stress does to your body over time, okay? But if you're having an anxious moment, ladies, you're safe. This is why you're here in this group, to learn what anxiety is and how to deal with it, all right? If you understood anxiety, which is what this live is about, this is going to clear up a lot of things. Okay, if you understand anxiety, you can overcome it for sure because you learn to react to it differently. You're not reacting, you're responding to it. And there is a difference. There is a difference. Ladies, as you come on, say hello. Let me just refresh because I see the comments on my computer screen, but not so much on my phone. So I'm just refreshing. Hello, hello. Okay. Hey, Shanika. Okay. So, and panic attacks too, those are scary as hell. Yes, they are. But they're not going to hurt you in and of themselves. Okay? It's fear. That's all you're dealing with. But if you learn what it is and how to deal with it, you can diffuse all this right away. Just diffuse it. It goes away. And you don't have to live with it. And it's not messing with your body. It's not something that's forever. So, and the other thing is, a lot of you are thinking anxiety is normal. It's normal to feel anxiety. How many of you were told, okay, it's okay that you have anxiety. Anxiety is just a normal part of life. Yes, everyone gets anxious, right? Everyone has anxiety. Everyone feels anxious. Well, it's true to a point because it is a human emotion. But what's not normal, okay, It's common, okay, to have anxiety, but it's not normal to have an anxiety disorder. There's nothing normal about that. We were not created to be anxious. We were not. All right? So if you are feeling anxiety, okay, that's fine, but do something about it. What's not normal is to leave it untreated and it becomes a disorder, and it messes with your physical health and your mental health, your emotional health, your whole well-being just goes downhill. You know, you need to get help. Another misconception is anxiety is impossible to treat. Like, it can't be treated. All right. Hi, Kara. How do you diffuse it? How do you diffuse anxiety, Lisa? Is that what you're asking? Well, I'll talk about that in a minute, okay? Hi, Bonnie. Anxiety is not impossible to treat, okay? First of all, when you go to the doctor, the quick fix is, here's a prescription, go see a professional, and distract yourself. Just distract yourself. Those are the quick fixes. None of those are going to get you over anxiety. And ladies, when I talk about getting over anxiety, okay, overcoming it, I am by no means stating that you'll never, ever have anxiety again, okay? Anxiety is an emotion. What you're trying to do is get your power back, because anxiety left untreated, okay, can take over your life. It will mess with your thoughts and your feelings, which is what we're talking about now. It leads you to believe in things that are not necessarily true. And it can wreak havoc on your life. So the thing is to take your power back. Totally possible. And I am living proof that that is possible. Because when anxiety wreaks havoc on your life, you can get to a point where you're not functioning in life. You're not dealing with life very well. I know I wasn't. But yes, anxiety can be treated. You don't have to be on medication. You don't have to find something to do in every moment of your life and distract yourself. There is a carefully step-by-step way of overcoming this that I can work with you to help you do that. That we reprogram the mind and we take steps to gain control of those thoughts, of those feelings, so that you get the experiences that you want. You take control. The other misconception that you may have is that, or that you're told, like even by a doctor, is that medication will make the anxiety go away. Just take this pill and your anxiety will go away. Now, I was on 4 different types of medication at once, not trying 4 different types of medication. I literally was so bad that I had to be on 4 different medications just to function. That's how much anxiety has like taken over my life, okay? Medication, okay, is a quick fix, because what it does is it can mask those sensations, those feelings, okay? It can help you deal with it, but it will not make anxiety go away. Many, if not all of you, even on medication, still feel anxiety. It does not take it away. The only way to overcome anxiety is to change your relationship with it, which is what this live is going to help you do, to change how you respond to the things in life, to reprogram how you're thinking, so you get different interpretations and you respond differently and get a different experience. So not just medication, but like smoking, drinking, alcohol, and taking drugs, all these things, well, it can just make your anxiety worse. They're not going to make it better. So if you have that misconception that, I'll just smoke more, I'll just turn to alcohol, do drugs, stay on my antidepressants, that's fine. Ladies, you're not going to overcome anxiety by doing any of this. I don't know anybody, I've never met anybody who has overcome anxiety by doing any of that. The other thing is distracting yourself, avoiding things. The more you avoid things, the more the anxiety is going to come on. Because as you avoid, as you distract, all you're doing is reconfirming to the central nervous system that something's wrong. Because you're like, oh, I feel this anxiety feeling. I'm gonna go wash the dishes, and then I'm gonna go fold the laundry, and then I'm gonna get in the car, and I'm gonna just go to the store, and I'm just gonna do whatever I can to distract myself from these feelings and these thoughts. But at the same time that you're distracting yourself, you're also going, what is that? What is that? And you're telling the central nervous system that something is wrong. So it keeps you in the anxiety cycle. Does that make sense, ladies? As I'm saying these lies and misconceptions, let me know if something's not making sense, okay? Let me know. Phyllis, I'm just reading now. That's what I was told, but I don't know which one you're saying that about. But yeah, I'm sure as I'm saying things, you're all going to be like, yep, that was a lie I believed. That's a misconception I had. Because anxiety makes you feel that way, right? So anxiety, another thing that we think is that the anxiety is the same for everybody, right? That whether you have GAD or panic, social anxiety, OCD, PTSD, separation anxiety, health anxiety, we're all in the same boat. We all have the same symptoms. No, anxiety can affect you differently than somebody else. I mean, we could all relate to each other in a certain way, all right, about doctor given medication. Okay, all right, Phyllis. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad to take medication, Phyllis, or anyone else who heard me talk about it. So don't beat yourself up if you're taking medication, because if you are at a point in your life where you're not functioning very well, you need medication, please take the medication. I just don't want you to think that I take this medication, I can lay back now because the anxiety is just going to go away. Like all of a sudden you're bulletproof. No, the anxiety is not going to just go away. It's going to help you deal with some of the symptoms. It's going to take the sting out. But yeah, you're not going to just be over anxiety now. That's what all I mean by that. But also, what I was just saying is there are different levels of anxiety, okay? Whether you have just general anxiety or you're having major panic attacks, okay? There are things that, we can feel the same, or it could be completely different. It's not the same treatment for everybody, okay? So when I have a client and my client says, I have, just generalized anxiety, I may do things with her that are different than with somebody who has panic attacks, or somebody who has depersonalization, or somebody who has PTSD. It's not all the same, okay? Now, anxiety lies to us through our feelings, okay? Because our heart races, our stomach is in knots, we get dizzy, I mean, our chest, whew, I can't breathe, and whew, we try to take that deep breath and we can't, and it scares us silly, right? So we think something's wrong. Something's got to be wrong. And we start having these thoughts. So it starts lying to us in our thoughts, right? So we start telling ourselves that, we're having a heart attack, or we're having a stroke, or I have I can't even think of anything else. A seizure, or I was trying to think, an aneurysm. That's what I was trying to think of. Or, we'll just go to that worst case scenario, okay, of what all these feelings and symptoms are, okay? So we scare ourselves silly by the sensations and the symptoms that we have, and then through our thoughts, we'll tell ourselves all these worst case scenarios. But the thing is, our thoughts also, what they do is, because anxiety takes our power away, our thoughts tell us we're not good enough. It tells us we're not safe. It tells us we're in danger. We don't have what it takes. We can't cope. We can't deal. How am I going to do this? So anxiety leads us to believe all these things that are not necessarily true. It's just that our fear and the way we feel, the thoughts, we can't ignore that. The biggest thing is anxiety tells us it's forever. Anxiety tells us, I'm here forever. So just get used to me. Just learn to deal with me, because I'm here forever. How many of you think you're having this forever? Give me a 2 or say me if you think you got this forever. Because I'm going to tell you right now, ladies, if you really, 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 really believe you have this forever, we need to work together. Because it is not true. And I am so testament of that. I thought I was going to have anxiety forever. I had every reason to believe that, because I lived with a mom, a sister, with, I had cousins and all kinds of relatives that I heard about and that I spoke with that said, I have anxiety. And I would talk to them about their anxiety, and they were all functioning well. They were just coping. They were just dealing with what they were experiencing. They were just doing the best they could. But no one had it as worse as I did. For some reason, I had it the worst. And no, I couldn't relate to anybody, and no one could relate to me. I had no reason to believe that I was ever going to overcome this. As a matter of fact, I'm like, well, if my family members and my friends can't overcome it, what makes me believe I could, right? Shanika, I used to until I started watching your lives. Oh, well, I'm glad I give you some hope, Shanika, because that's what I hope I'm doing for everybody. I'm not here to waste my breath. This is possible, ladies. I know you didn't know me when I was at my worst, but I am telling you, I was not functioning. I needed 4 different medications to function in life. I had a safe person because I didn't think I was safe unless I was with my person. I had a lot of misconceptions in life. And that could be another lie or misconception, that I need a safe person, right? I'm not safe unless my safe person is standing right next to me, babysitting me. Without that person, I can't cope. I can't deal. Another lie, another misconception. And I just did whole life training about it last week. Catch that if you haven't caught it, right? But anxiety is not forever, ladies. It's not. You're not over anxiety, okay? In other words, you haven't overcome, you haven't gotten your power back. There could be many reasons why. I mean, the biggest reason that I always go with is you don't have the full awareness of what anxiety is, which is what I'm talking about today, because I'm trying to clear some of those lies and those misconceptions. Okay? The other thing is anxiety makes you think, because as you work to overcome anxiety, right? Because anxiety holds on, because it's always trying to protect you, right? You think nothing works. Nothing works. But that's not true, okay? Anxiety is always there for you, and we're going to get into that. Before you tell me, what are you talking about? Okay, anxiety is actually trying to protect you. So when we work to overcome anxiety, it actually fights you. Because it's like, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm trying to help you here. What are these things that you're doing? So when you start doing things differently, anxiety's, your brain is like, what is she doing? She's trying to be different, but that's not what we do. And it starts to fight you. Okay? So that's why I say, and I know you heard me say this, you need to be consistent. You need to keep going. Okay? Because the moment something becomes hard, that's when, okay, you're letting the anxiety win. Anxiety wants you to see it as hard because it's saying you're doing things, okay, that it's going against the whole thing here. Like, I'm trying to protect you. You're doing something to get rid of me here. And so what's going on? So it becomes hard. And then you go, well, I give up, and you think that nothing works. Is that making sense, ladies? It doesn't seem like it. What doesn't seem like it, Missy? I'm sorry. And don't forget I put God. Yeah, I'm going to talk about God now. Actually, that's the next thing on my list. I'm going to talk about God. But, Missy, it doesn't seem like it. What doesn't seem like it? That it's going to go away. I bet you that's what you meant, Missy, right? It doesn't seem like it's ever going to go away. It's going to go away, Missy. I'm telling you, if you listen to me, okay, that anxiety protects you, keep listening. So if you didn't hear the beginning of this, and if you want to know more, you got to stay to the end, okay? The best is yet to come, I promise. Just stick with me for a second. I'm just talking about the lies and misconceptions, but we're going to get more into it. Let's talk about God let's talk about one other thing. Anxiety leads you to believe that you're going crazy, right? How many of you think you're going crazy? Because I was having major panic attacks, anxiety, insomnia. I didn't know my left from my right. I had mashed potatoes for brains. I couldn't think for myself. It was horrible. I thought I was going out of my mind. Seriously, there was one day I literally begged my husband to put me away. I'm surprised he didn't call somebody and put me in a straitjacket in a padded room. I really thought I was going out of my mind. Anxiety made me think I was going crazy. Why? Because I didn't have control of my thoughts, or at least I didn't think I did. I didn't have control of how I felt. At least I didn't think I did. Everything I was experiencing, I felt like I was so out of control. I wasn't who I used to be. And that's another misconception, is that anxiety makes you feel, right, that you're not normal, okay? That you will never be normal again. But see, normal is relative, okay? Normal is what you define normal as, okay? What normal for you is not normal for me, okay? But yeah, anxiety will tell you, yeah, you're not like other people, and you're not. I mean, we're all different in a way anyway. But Anxiety will make you feel like, again, you're all alone, right? So you don't feel like you belong anywhere, you're not normal, and you just want your life back. Anxiety makes you feel like you're abandoned by God. And this is a big one, ladies. I get this all the time. Where is God in all this? I pray, Carla, all the time. When is he going to answer my prayers? Where is God? What does he like? Is he mad at me? Is he punishing me? I couldn't think of the word. No, absolutely not. See, God does not abandon you. God loves you. God's there. He's always there, right? And he always will be there. God is doing his part, okay? We have free will. We need to trust in him. You're all parents, right? You're moms, right? So think about having your children, right? When you have your children, you give them rules. You tell them, do this. And if you do this, you'll get this as a reward. Now, how many times did you tell your child, all right, clean up your room. Clean up your room. When you clean up your room, then we'll go get some ice cream. I'm making stuff up here, okay? Clean up your room, let's go get some ice cream. Or clean up your room, and I'll give you $5. All right? Now, you think, all right, sweet. They're going to do it because I just gave them a sweet reward, right? And and we think, in the Bible, trust in God and you'll receive his blessings, right? But are we trusting in God to receive his blessings? Is your child going to follow through to get that reward? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But when they don't, we think, I just told you you're going to get a great blessing if you do this. And what kept you from doing that? What kept you from cleaning your room so that I can give you this blessing? I really wanted to give it to you, but now I can't. Because you didn't learn your lesson. You didn't do what I asked you to do. I didn't ask you to do anything big. I just wanted you to do this little thing so I could give you this blessing. So God, it's not that he's withholding from us, but God gives us, how do I say this? God puts us through trials, through tribulations, but not to harm us, okay? He's trying to get us prepared for the next level. He's always trying to give us blessings and to reward us, all right? That's what he wants. He loves us. But if we don't trust in him, okay, and we try to do things in our own power, and we tell him, you know what, I'm going to believe more in my own power and in man, and not so much in you. I'm going to do things my own way. He's not going to fight you. He's just going to sit back and be like, well, okay, if that's what you really want. But I understand you're saying, but I pray and I pray and I pray. Isn't that showing him that I want? Well, yes and no. He hears you. He hears you going, God, help me. But if you're begging him to help you, and then you're being so worried and anxious about it, are you trusting? What are you doing after that? If you're trying to take matters into your own hands, how is that showing God that you're trusting him? In Philippians 4, it specifically says, do not worry. Do not have anxiety. Instead, we are to pray. Give thanks, trusting in God, like telling God everything that's in our minds, on our hearts. And then his peace, which surpasses all understanding, will guard our hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. We're not supposed to worry. We're supposed to pray. Pray without ceasing. Are we doing that? Begging God and then worrying about it. Are you believing that he's going to come through? So going back to my analogy of you telling your child, here's $5, clean your room. And then your child doesn't clean the room and is going, well, am I going to get the $5? I'm just going to sit here among my mess. And maybe, my mom says she's going to give me $5 if I clean my room. But I don't know. Will she give me the $5? Will she not give me the $5? Do I trust her? Is she going to be good on her word? So it's kind of like the same, having that trust relationship. It is a matter of trust. And anxiety is uncertainty. When you're not trusting, you live in uncertainty. You have anxiety because you're not certain that what you're praying for is going to come about. But if you only knew how much God loved you. See, the thing is, sometimes what we pray for is not going to come because it's not good for you. God has something better planned for you than what you're praying for. So if you just trust God with the outcome and say, you know what, I just prayed to God and I know somehow, some way the best thing's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen, but it will happen. That's trusting, and that can bring you some peace. Now, but the thoughts just keep coming, but I go on about my life. Okay. I guess that's when you have to have faith. Yes. Faith for sure. Faith is believing in what you don't see, what you don't hear. But if you know there's a God, okay? I know there is a God. And I know when I pray, I don't know what comes into your mind. When you think of God, do you think of a man with a long beard up in the clouds hearing you? I don't know what you put into your mind when you're praying to God. But yes, I do believe somebody's listening, okay? And I just know my message is received because I prayed so many times and those prayers have been answered. And I just trust that whatever I pray for, okay, if it's right for me, if it's good for me, that's what God wants for me. It's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, it means that there's something better. Okay? It means that there's something better. All right. Before I go on to the last thing, I saved the best for last because there's a lot of explanation. Are there any lies or misconceptions that you have about anxiety that you want to share? Put it in the comments. Is there anything that I did not, something that you think is a lie or a misconception that you want to talk about before I go on to the next part? Anxiety tells you too that you're too old. You're too old to overcome anxiety. Like, I'm too old for this. You're never too old. I don't care your age, okay? Please don't tell me, oh, I'm 80 years old. I've been like this for 30, 40 years. It's too late for me. It's never, 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 never too late. Never too late, okay? You might think, I'm too busy to do the work. I'm too busy and I need time. No, okay? That's a misconception too, because it's not like you need to stop your life to overcome anxiety. You have to change how you're living in life to overcome anxiety. You need to do these things while you're living life. So whether you're chasing a toddler around all day or you're busy at work, that's the best time to try to overcome anxiety. So, busy schedule, no excuse to not overcome anxiety. Does anybody have anything that they think is a lie or a misconception? Anything that they're believing? Let's put it this way. Is there anything that you're believing about anxiety that you want to talk about that maybe I have not covered? Put it in the comments, because I'm going to share with you the biggest lie out there. And you know, you might think, well, I thought the biggest lie is I can't overcome anxiety, or that, you know, anxiety makes me crazy, or you know, God is not listening or helping me. Those are big lies, big misconceptions that you may have. But when it comes to anxiety, there is a bigger lie. And I'm not getting anything. I'm not seeing any new comments. So that means nobody has anything to share as far as any beliefs that you have. Okay. Now this is where your mind is going to get blown, okay? Now, I've been talking about lies and misconceptions, right? Anxiety is a liar. Well, guess what? Anxiety isn't a liar. That's the biggest lie. Anxiety is not a liar. How many of you just went, what are you even talking about? Right? Because the first time I heard that, I'm like, wait a minute. I thought anxiety was lying to me, right? And now you're telling me everything I think about anxiety is true? Well, I'm not quite saying that either. So that's why you have to stay on and you have to listen to what I'm going to say. All right? Because I don't want anyone going off going, what? You know, Carla is like, she's like losing it. No, just listen to what I got to say, okay? Anxiety isn't really a liar. Because to overcome anxiety is to know anxiety. And if you know anxiety is not the enemy. It's not. And I know it doesn't feel that way. It feels like anxiety is trying to destroy your life. It feels like anxiety is taking away all your power, right? It's driving you crazy. Literally. It's just driving you crazy. I mean, I wasn't functioning, right? All these things I talked about, like I felt. I believed in all these lies and misconceptions. But the biggest lie out there is that anxiety is the enemy, that it lies to us. But see, the thing is, anxiety is doing its job. It's just doing its job. Anxiety is emotion given to us by God, okay? Anxiety is actually helping you. Now, I know one of you said before that it's hard for you to believe that anxiety is helping you. It is helping you. Why? That's why understanding the mechanics of anxiety is very important. Because anxiety only comes about, okay, when your brain gets overwhelmed, when you're overwhelmed with stress, okay, when there's so much going on in your life. This is where anxiety picks up, okay? Anxiety is a signal, okay? It is a warning sign from your brain saying, hey, something needs to change. You need to slow down. You need to nourish something. You need to start taking care of yourself. Anxiety is helping you. The thing is, are you listening? Are you understanding what anxiety is trying to tell you? So when you're sitting on that couch and your heart rate just starts getting fast, okay? Or your stomach just goes in knots. It's, you know, our fear will be like, what? Am I going into cardiac arrest? Or am I having some kind of flu or some kind of stomach virus? Do I have cancer? Do I, like our fear will feed our minds with all these misconceptions, right? But if we just take the time to sit there and feel what we're going to feel, okay? And we understand our bodies, okay? We get to understand our bodies and we sit there with the feelings and we do a little like investigation, okay? What is this feeling? What is this sensation trying to tell me? Like if you know it's anxiety, you can say, anxiety, what are you trying to tell me? Because I know you don't come around for no reason. How many of you think you get anxiety for no reason at all? You always have anxiety for a reason. Anxiety does not come to you for no reason. There's a reason for anxiety, and that's to warn you, to tell you something needs to be nourished. Something needs to be changed, right? Remember what I said in the very beginning, and some of you did not hear me in the beginning. What is a lie? A lie, okay, is something somebody tells you to deceive you. Anxiety is not trying to deceive you. Anxiety is trying to help you. That's why it's not a lie. Yeah, okay, you might be getting a fast beating heart. But you gotta remember the mechanics of the mind-body connection, okay? Your central nervous system, the mind doesn't know what's real and what's real and what's not real. So according to your mind, you're being chased by a lion, whereas you're just watching TV and something, triggered you, okay? So you're thinking, okay, that's a lie. But it's not trying to deceive you. It's just that it believes everything you tell it. So when you understand that, you know you're not being deceived. That's why it's not lying to you. It's trying to help you. It's trying to say, hey, something's going on. Let's investigate this. And that's up to you now to tell the mind and body, to understand that you can diffuse this right away. You can nip it in the bud and be like, oh, my heart's beating fast, but I'm fine. I just saw something on TV that just kind of triggered me. It reminded me of when I lost my parent, or that time when I got sick, or that time when, and you take a deep breath and you take time to self-regulate. So, anxiety, it believes that what you're experiencing is true, which is why it's not lying to you. It believes that lion is chasing you. It's trying to help you, keep you safe, protect you from harm. So as you're making these interpretations, as things are happening, you're making these interpretations, okay? These are the misconceptions. You make interpretations, you feel it in your body, and you back it up with this story, right? This is what you're feeding the brain. And the brain, the intention is to protect you from harm, from failure, from whatever. It's just trying to protect you. It doesn't feel that way. What if self-regulate doesn't work at that time? Well, Lisa, okay. There are so many ways to self-regulate, all right? What works for one may not work for another. But this is not just about breathing. It's also about how you're talking to yourself, okay? Thoughts matter. What you tell yourself matters. That's part of self-regulation. I have videos about self-regulation, ladies. You can go look those up. They're in the guide section of the group. and I think I have one on YouTube. You could go find one there. I talk about self-regulation a lot. Self-regulation is basically taking control of that central nervous system, taking back control of your thoughts, of your emotions. Okay, it's understanding how to do that. And it takes practice. Okay, sometimes you could get it right away. Sometimes, it just takes practice. Like, I knew breathing. I mean, we all hear breathing. Just breathe and you'll feel better. But there are times I would do all the kinds of breathing exercises, and guess what? They never worked for me. Sometimes I would do breathing exercises and it would make me feel worse. So I had to find something else that helped me to self-regulate. And usually what helped me the most was how I was talking to myself, because it was my thoughts. I was always scaring myself. I was always telling myself I had such a negative mind. I was always scaring myself with my thoughts that I had to take control of the thoughts. And that essentially really helped me to calm things down, because I really believed I was having a heart attack. And I had to really convince myself, you're not having a heart attack. Stop telling yourself that. And I had to find compassion for myself and give myself that grace. So that's all part of self-regulation. So the biggest lie out there about anxiety is that that anxiety is a liar, okay? But it's not a liar. It's doing its job. It's doing exactly what it should do. And that is trying to help you. It doesn't feel that way. I get it. But if you just understood it, you could act differently towards it. You could take more control of those thoughts, of those feelings, and get a different experience. Amanda, I say my internal alarm is going off. Yep, that's exactly what's happening. Our central nervous system is the internal alarm. It's saying, oh, something's wrong, something's going on with Amanda. Hello. And that's why you get those beautiful stress hormones surge through your body, right? We get the stress hormones, they surge through the body. And then, we get those feelings in our body, and then we back it up with more thoughts. But if we understand those mechanics, how that works, we can reverse engineer and take control. What doesn't work for you either? I'm sorry, Lisa. What did I say that doesn't work for you? But you'll find something that works for you, Lisa. Maybe, there's something you're not believing. There's a belief you're holding on to that's keeping you from making progress then. Because I know you've made breathing. Yeah. No. Like I said, what works for one may not work for another. But that doesn't mean breathing doesn't work. Breathing is wonderful. As a matter of fact, breathing works for me now. It didn't work for me years ago, but it does work for me now. But not that I get anxious a lot, but like if I feel like I'm off, I'll say, all right, Carla, take a deep breath. Everything's good, because stress affects the brain, right? I mean, I just did a whole thing about what stress does to your brain. And, your emotional part of the brain will take over, and you're not thinking with the logical part of the brain. So if you understand the whole mechanics of anxiety, you can absolutely take control. So when anxiety lies to you, okay, when you start having these misconceptions, the next time you tell yourself, I'm going to be like this forever, that's not true. That's a belief you're holding on to because of everything you've experienced. But that doesn't mean it's true. It's your truth at the moment because you're having an experience and maybe you didn't get the right information. You're not having the right support. You need to do something different, because I am telling you, you can overcome this. Ladies, before I go, any clarification, any questions, any lies, misconceptions you have that you want to talk about, put it in the comments. Let's talk about it before I go. Anything at all that you want to discuss before I go. I'm going to just refresh my page. I see a lot of you are coming and going. If you change your whole relationship with anxiety, things are going to change for you. Hold on. Wait, I missed the chat. Okay, Jen, there's going to be a replay. This is going right into the feed. It's going to be in the guide section. It'll be there for 30 days, available to you anytime, 24/7. And after that, I upload it to YouTube. So, my health anxiety. What about your health anxiety? I don't know how to stop it. I have a whole live training about health anxiety, and as a matter of fact, I'm thinking of doing a new live training about health anxiety next week, because more and more people are talking about that, because we are just in the season of health right now, which is why I was talking about fears of doctors a couple weeks ago. So maybe we're going to talk about health anxiety next week. I tell myself I don't appreciate and understand things. Well, it's hard to be appreciative, okay, when you are feeling anxious, because appreciation, okay, and love and appreciation is the opposite of fear and anxiety. Okay, you can't appreciate love and have faith when you're anxious all the time. They're the total opposites. So learning to be grateful, to see the blessings in everything, okay? So every time you feel, the mind is telling you, let's say, Missy, that you are bad off, or, think of things that do a list of things that you do appreciate, okay? You don't understand things. Well, meaning like you don't have the smarts to overcome anxiety, but you do. You do. You are much brighter, much stronger than you know you are. You have what it takes. Everybody here has what it takes to overcome anxiety. Trust me, I was not valedictorian of my class, okay? And I overcame anxiety. If I overcame anxiety, so can you, okay? I just can't afford to address it. No, Jen, you can't afford to not address it. You can't afford to not address this. Ladies, I'm going to say this over and over and over again, okay? If you don't take time, okay, to overcome anxiety, to do what it takes to overcome anxiety, okay? If you keep using that as an excuse, I don't have time, I don't have the funds, you're going to be forced to take the time. You're going to be forced to find those funds. Because it gets worse. It doesn't get better if you do nothing, okay? Whoa. I feel empty, like I haven't had a BM in 2 days without medication. It affects my BMs. Is there such a thing as too much of meditation for those who like to meditate? Actually, meditation can work against you. It can. Because meditation, you're very focused, right? Meditation's wonderful because it makes you very present. But sometimes, if you're somebody who feels anxiety and pushes it away all the time, okay, when you meditate, you become very present. So if you're not used to sitting with those feelings, so you start meditating, you get in the present time, all of a sudden, you're facing those feelings for the first time. You're not pushing them away anymore. You're not distracting yourself from the feelings anymore. And you go, whoa! And you're feeling those feelings, right? So It's not that it's too much meditation, okay? There are people who meditate for hours, right? The gurus, they meditate all day long, right? The monks, the gurus. I don't know if there's too much meditation, but meditation can be bad. Not that it's bad, but it can make the anxiety worse if you feel those feelings and you're still afraid of them, okay? And you're not into facing them yet. You need to face those feelings and know they're not going to hurt you, okay? Sorry. Okay, it's okay. But listen, medication can affect, I don't know what medications you're on. This is something to bring up with your doctor. I don't manage medications. But medications can actually hurt your anxiety. Sometimes they can sometimes make it worse than better, because they give you symptoms that, you focus on the symptoms and it makes it worse. So you get anxiety about it, right? Okay. Find other ways to get more regular than using maybe Miralax, okay? But anyway, anything else, ladies? Anybody have any questions about anything that I said? I just want to stop then to see if I could create a without, because I become immune. Okay. I would say, Jen, work with a medical doctor, okay? If you're feeling that way, all right? Anxiety affects the gut and vice versa. So maybe fix the gut. And you just said my GI doctor doesn't help. Yeah, I get that. They just want to medicate you. Fix the gut. You fix the gut. I do have a live training about the gut and anxiety, and I talk about that. I believe it's still in the guide section of the group. If not, check on YouTube. Somebody asked me before about my YouTube channel. Ladies, go to the features section of this group, and I have my link there. As a matter of fact, I got to put the link to YouTube somewhere else in this group so you have easier access. I just got to figure out how to do it because I'm not tech savvy, ladies. But yes, I do have YouTube. You'll get my live trainings there if you don't see them in the guide section. So follow me there. Yay, I'm not. What did you say, Dave? I don't know what you mean by that. Savvy. No. Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. You're learning. We all start somewhere, right? I mean, I'm not savvy with a lot of things. The one thing I'm savvy about is I know anxiety, and I can help you with anxiety. But I do know about anxiety in the gut. What about what you're anxious about is true? So, all right, Lisa, what are you asking? Can you send me the link? Okay. Hold on one bit. What about what you're, so in other words, having anxiety about, what am I anxious about? Is it true? So in other words, you're feeling anxious. Is it true? Is it not true? I'm not sure if it's true or not. Is that your question, Lisa? You have anxiety because you're really not sure if what you're anxious about is true or not. Is that what you're asking, Lisa? See, the thing is, that's why I say you have to know who you are, understand your body, and understand anxiety. I'm in an infusion yesterday, and the side effects were so bad. I had an infusion. Okay. But those were the side effects from the infusion, right? So it's the way that you're talking to yourself, okay? You had an infusion. You had side effects. So you can tell yourself you had a panic attack. Well, I'm sorry about that, Lisa. I wish you messaged me. I could have helped you through that. you had an infusion. You had some side effects, but you knew the side effects were from the infusion, right? So it's how you spoke to yourself. And so you had a panic attack because you didn't like the way it made you feel. And you probably were feeling some of these symptoms going with uncertainty. What am I feeling? Why am I feeling it? Is this the infusion, or is this making me, is it something else? Is this me having a bad reaction that I need medical attention? Because that's possible, right? Yeah, message me, Lisa, that's fine. But that happens, ladies, and that's where health anxiety too. I mean, I used to have, no, they had side effects, but thank God I didn't have any. So you didn't have side effects. Wait a minute. Now I'm confused, because then you just saying the side effects were so bad. No, they had, oh, wait a minute. No, they had side effects, but thank God I didn't have any. I'm confused. All right. Anyway, just worried. All right. Worried about side effects. All right. Message me and we'll talk it out there. I'm going to get off the live. But ladies, listen. Anxiety changes how you think. It changes how you interpret things and store things in the brain, okay? So when that happens, okay, you react differently in life. So you have different thoughts, different feelings in your body that you wouldn't normally have. You start losing control, or you start feeling like you have no control. So when you start feeling anxiety, you start believing, okay, believing that you have no control. You start believing all these things that anxiety says, like, I'll be like this forever. I just have to take a pill and I'll be fine. God doesn't care about how I'm being, and he's not listening. He's not helping me through this. I'm all alone in this process. I'm in a lot of danger right now with how I feel, and I'm going crazy right now. And or this anxiety is normal. I just have to learn how to deal with it. I mean, these are things you might be telling yourself. But remember, anxiety is not a liar. Okay, it's doing its job. And if you're just coming on, what you heard me say is going to confuse the hell out of you. So you need to watch this from the beginning. Because I know in the beginning I said anxiety is a liar and you have misconceptions. But it's not anxiety that's lying to you. It's your misconceptions that's lying to you. It's what you're guessing about what you're feeling and the thoughts you're having about the anxiety. You don't know anxiety, like your lack of awareness, okay? If you have more awareness and you know the mechanics of anxiety, you know the truth, and that truth can set you free. Ladies, you need to implement the things that I tell you, and if you don't, sometimes implementation is very hard. I have programs that can help you with implementation. And I am there to help you step by step to take this material that you're learning and apply it to your life. I give you total access to me. You can message me anytime from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed. I am always with you, there to help you. I don't give up until my clients get some kind of progress, because it doesn't do me any good if you don't make progress. I want you to understand anxiety, because I know for a fact you can overcome this. I'm not guessing. Okay? I know it to be true. I am 100% confident in what I do, that I actually have a guarantee on one of my programs that I will work with you for absolutely free until you make progress. If you get no results whatsoever. That's how much faith I put into this whole thing that I do. I know anxiety. And I know that if you just understood it, you will overcome it. All right, ladies, I gotta go. I actually have a call. So be well, take care, and I'll see you next week. And, at this point, message me, put it in the comments, and I'll get back to you. Always, you're the best. Thank you. Yes, I will message you the link, Jen, but also go in the features section and you will see the link for YouTube there. If you don't want to wait for me, because I do have a call, it might be a good hour. You want me to block you, Jen? I'm not going to block you. I don't know why you said that. You were, okay, please message me. Yeah, but I'm going to send you the link. Anyway. Yeah, okay. Either that or just go to the features section. All right, be well, ladies. Take care. I'll talk to you all soon, okay? All right, bye.